Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another Live with me, Ed Cooper, here in Hinckley. I'm your business coach, helping and supporting you throughout the business to get more money, get more time back in your lives, and get your team working. And today and this month, we are talking all about communication. So how has your communication been? We've just gone through the finish of schools. Some of you are probably on holiday. Maybe you're on holiday now, sipping on a margarita while listening to Live with me. We have just come back from holiday, and I find it incredibly interesting surrounding yourselves with different people in different environments, in different countries, different cultures as well, and understanding how communication is absolutely key to getting what you need and want in life. And in business, it's no different. We have to be able to communicate effectively with our team, with our clients and our prospects. And we have to be able to cut through sometimes some of the difficult challenges that we have with communication, difficult conversations, getting a sale across the line, figuring out exactly what it is that our client wants and needs. That means that they will say yes rather than no. And last session that we ran together on communication, I gave you lots of hints and tips around team and leadership communication. Today, we're going to be talking about DISC, D-I-S-C, and how you can use DISC personality profiling to understand not only yourself and where your personality preferences may lie, but also everybody around you. Really, really quickly, really simply, just being able, by looking at them, talking to them briefly, even just seeing them walking down the street, you can spot people's preferences. When you know their preferences, you can understand how they like to be communicated to. Now, everybody's heard about this golden rule of being treated. You've probably heard, you've probably been brought up with it. Your mum and your dad and your gran and people around you always used to say, treat people like they would like to be treated. That's the golden rule. Treat people like treat people like you would like to be treated. And you kind of put yourself in that element of respect, don't you? You go, well, I want to be treated like this, so I'll treat them like that. But we're going to take it to the next level. This platinum rule, I'm giving it away already, that we're going to take it to another level. We want you to look at treating people the way they would like to be treated. And to do that, you have to walk in their shoes. You have to understand them. And to do that, listen to this live. You'll understand so much more at the end of it around DISC. If you've never done DISC profiling before, don't worry, we'll explain it. If you have done DISC profiling before and you understand it, keep listening. You'll learn so much more from this session. You'll refresh your brain with it and reconnect with it. It's always good to keep refreshing and keep energizing our brains so that we learn and keep taking on more. If you're there live, say hello, say good morning, ask questions as you go along, get involved in the conversation. And if you like this, share this with people, share this with some sales teams, some leadership teams that you think would benefit from it. All right, let's get on to looking a little bit more at the DISC profile. Now, I'm going to explain this, starting off with the fact that there are so many different personalities and people out there, right? So everyone you see, we're all unique, we're all different, and that's a wonderful thing, that we are all unique and bringing something different into this world and sharing that with people. The great news is that we are predictably different. There are only a certain amount of types and styles of profiles that you can be. And therefore, we can look at the evidence and predict how you might prefer to be treated and spoken to, communicated with. So let me give you a bit of an example. The other day, so as I come in from work, I normally park my car probably about half a mile or so away from the office. And when I come in, sometimes when I come in, I have to cross two roads. And at those roads, they have pedestrian crossings. You know, the one where you have to push the button to get the red man to change to the green man, right? So I'm standing there, and there's four people, including my four people as well as myself. So 5 people all standing there. And as I come up, I'm the first person to go up to the button and press it. So I just press the button and then stand back and wait. Very soon after that, someone came up and they pressed the button and waited, and then they pressed the button again. And then they pressed it and 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 pressed it. Have you ever done that before? Like where you're just like, come on, I need to get across the road. I haven't got time to wait. They're looking, the traffic's really busy, and they're looking left and right to see if they can scoot through the traffic to get to the other side. They don't have time to wait, and they are frustrated as hell because the button probably isn't working, and the red man's probably broken, and the green man's never going to come on. Those people have a profile, the very first profile here, which is dominance. They are what we call high D, or dominance. They don't have time to wait. They're impatient. They want to be, they're fast paced. They're task focused. They just want to get across the road. They don't have to wait for anything. So they, and you probably spot these people next time you cross the road, or maybe even get in a lift, spot those people pressing the button, wanting to get in and getting across the road. So they're the dominant people. There was someone else there as well who, when they turned up, and they were just kind of watching the person who was pressing the button, and they kind of went, oh, it's crazy, isn't it? These buttons, these lights never work. They take ages. And they started to talk to the person who was pressing the button and getting annoyed. And the person who was getting annoyed didn't really communicate back. But then the person who was talking turned to me and started chatting to me and saying, oh, you know, I always come across this road. It's really busy today, isn't it? And what beautiful weather we're having. They're starting a conversation with me out of nowhere. I'd never seen this person before. Now, this person was an influencer. They were high and they just wanted to talk to people. They were more extroverted. They were absolutely people focused. But they were faster paced as well. They were fast in their communication. The direction of the stories that they were telling me about, it's busy today, isn't the weather beautiful? Have you been on a holiday? They came thick and fast. We didn't have time to start digging into deep about it. They just wanted to talk. So we had this person pressing the button like mad, and the other one who was chatting away. Then this next person came up, and they were kind of like just sat in the background. They didn't move forward. They were leaning. There was a wall behind me. They were kind of standing back towards it. You could see they were looking up at the red man's like, is he going to turn green? They were watching left and right at all of the cars that were going. They weren't saying anything to anyone at all. When we eventually, the green man did come, right? So when the green man did come eventually, that person waited for everybody to go across the road before they started to move across the road. They put everybody else first and themselves last, and they were kind of meek, you know. They were sort of a little bit more in the background. Now, these people, these are the steadiness, these individuals. These are methodical, incredibly patient individuals. They will want to be starter finishers, and they have the energy to go through to the end. So these are the steadies, right? And then finally, there was one other person, and that person was, they came along. They didn't have a chance to push the button, right? They could see that the button was pressed because it said wait, and it was in big, with a lit up. But they were looking around. They were looking to make sure that the green man was coming or the red man was there. They were making sure that the people were stood back from. So you could tell, like, what the guy who was the dominant, was getting really close to the edge because he wanted to get across, and you just see this made this person a little bit nervous. They waited exactly, like when you cross the road, you got the bobbly bits that you stand on. They were standing on those. They weren't moving from that position. They absolutely waited 100% until that green man came on, but not just the green man, but the beeps that go with the green man, right? Because that is exactly the right time to cross the road. The dominant person, they'd already gone across the road before the green man had even come upon the screen. He'd seen that the traffic had stopped. Bam, that was his opportunity to go. The person who was waiting and looking around and checking for accurate evidence that it was safe, waited for the green man and for the beeps as well. So now we've got all these people walking across the road. You've got the person who's still chatting to me about their holiday. We've got the person who's dominant, just boof, gone as soon as there's an opportunity. We've got the person who's checking everything, making sure methodically that it's safe and it's right time to cross the road. And we've got the steady person who's just sat back, just that little bit, let everybody else go first, incredibly patient, and allow them to cross the road. Now, interestingly, when you see these people now in the street, you will know the styles that they might prefer. And I'm going to share with you on my screen a picture of this. Bear with me. Now, hope you can see this. So here you have those 4 styles outlined as I've described to you. The top right-hand corner, the dominance. They are direct. They are decisive. They drive results. They are absolutely task-focused and quick-paced. Okay, they did not want to wait for the green man. Then you've got the influencers. They are faster paced as well, usually through their communication. They are also people orientated and much more open in their communication. Hence the reason why this person was communicating about and talking about their holidays and the weather and how busy it is on the roads. They are extroverted, they're talkative, they bring energy to a room. Then we have the steadies that sort of sat back a little bit. They're patient, they're loyal, they wait for everybody else. That's more of the sort of team focus. They are much more slower paced, but they are still more open in their relationship and people orientated. And then we got the C's, right? The conscientious, follow the rules, process driven, absolutely objective in their thinking before they take action. Slightly slower paced, still task focused. Need to get across the road, but we need to do it in the right way. And they were the high C's. Now, each of these have a very different way that you should communicate with them. So it doesn't matter where you are, but let's just start there. Where do you think you are? Where is your style? Are you a high D, a high I, a high S, or a high C? Now, if you're high D, you've probably already left the live. You go, I'll do this later, right? If you're high I, you're probably putting comments into the comments box. If you're a high S, you've been patient and loyal and you're listening. If you're high C, you're probably looking for the evidence to prove that what I'm saying is correct before you apply it. So where are you on that? Now, think about people in your team. Think about your number one customer. Where are they? And if they're different to you, you probably need to think about how you will communicate. So if you've got, I come across in my business a lot of high D people, okay? They are driven, focused, fast paced, they want results straight away. And I know as a coach, my communication has to be quick. I am not going to be wasting their time. I need to be brief, be bright, be gone, right? I need to stick to business, avoid the chit chat. Okay. We'll do a little bit, but avoid the chit chat where possible. And also have the opportunity for them to make a decision, right? Have you ever heard those people go, well, you might have the best idea in the world, but unless they think it's their idea, they probably won't buy into it. Okay. So don't go with a decision, have a discussion and see where that takes them. And when you're talking to them and you disagree, which you will, disagree with the facts, not the person. Okay. So rather than saying, I don't agree with you, say, actually, I don't agree with the facts of this, this, and this. We need to look at this together. That is a great way to communicate to someone who is high D. Don't ramble. Stick to business. Don't come with a decision and disagree with the facts, not the person. Okay, what about the high I's? So the high I's, well, actually, if you're managing a high I, or you have a client who's a high I, or maybe they just walk into your store and talk to you, and you know, because they want to communicate, you need to make time for socializing. You need to make time to ask them how they are. What have they been doing? If you don't do that, you miss an opportunity to engage and warm that person towards where you want to take the conversation, or even to making a decision. Now, if you're high D, that's tough, but you need to do it because otherwise you'll lose them. And a lot of high Ds go, I haven't got time to socialize, I haven't got time to talk about holidays and stuff. Well, do you know what? You're probably not going to effectively communicate with this person, and you are going to lose their interest, right? You're not going to build rapport with them in the same way. You also want with this person to put details down in writing, right? High I's, they don't really like a lot of detail, can't really get stuck into it. It bores them, right? So you need to make sure that you're concise, but put stuff down. So having a conversation is one thing, they'll love that, but actually go back and say, look, just to remind you, this is what we spoke about. And also provide testimonials, like feedback is really important for a high I, so that they know that other people see them as prominent or important. You know, those people who really like awards, or those people who really liked recognition from an accolade from other areas, those people are more likely to be high I. Listen to them, but don't get lost in the conversation, because you will need to steer that conversation. Otherwise, you will go off piste, off agenda, talk about something completely different. Now, on occasions, you'll see people who are high D and high I together. So they're quick, they are sociable, and they are task focused, and that you need to communicate in that way. Okay, so let's move on to the S's. I'm just going to check, because my screen, when I go on here, I can't see my StreamYard. So just checking we've got no comments at the moment. We've got some loves and thumbs up, which is nice. Thank you very much for those. We really appreciate that. Yeah, they're probably some of the high I's out there that perhaps don't have time to make a comment, but that's okay. But they give me a thumbs up because they appreciate it. Thank you very much. Right, high S's. So with the high S's, these people are great listeners. So if you're a high I and you're working with a high S, or one of your clients is a high S, you will have prominence to talk a lot, socialize. The high S will listen. They'll be patient, but don't overdo it, because if you do, they will walk away, right? Eventually they will get to a point where they go, oh my God, all they did was just talk all the time to me. I couldn't think. I didn't have time to put in. They never even asked me what I was doing or how I was feeling or anything like that, right? So you need to be really cautious and careful. If you're not getting anything back from this person and you're talking, just think, what style is this person, and how do I move the conversation along? But with a high S, start with personal comments to break the ice. Wow, that's a beautiful top you're wearing. Wow, have you had your hair done? It's something that's personal and nice. Don't rush into business straight away. Remember, high S, high I, people focused. Focus on the person, then business. High C, high D, task focused, business focused. Okay. But listen to the S and be responsive. Ask questions to get and elicit a response, and then respond and let them know that they have been heard. That's incredibly important. And don't be demanding of their time and their needs, or forceful. Don't force them into a decision. Give them time to think and reflect and come back. So if you're a high D and you need a decision now, your job is to make sure that you ask the question before you need an answer. Okay, before, not when you need an answer, but before, maybe a day, maybe half a day, maybe 3 hours. All right. High S, do you think that you could make a decision given the information I've given you in the next 3 hours? Yes, great. I'll come back to you in 3 hours' time. Right. That's reflection time. But also build and maintain trust. Trust and loyalty are a cornerstone of a high S. So if you don't do what you say you are going to do, you will lose their trust and that relationship, and therefore the communication will break down and you will not get a win-win outcome. So make sure that you are doing and delivering what you say you will do. Incredibly important for a high S. So we've done DIS. Now the last one that we've got is C, the conscientious. So with the conscientious, they are extremely organized, pay high attention to detail. So they're objective. They need facts. They need data. And they need to look at the trends to understand that so they can objectively make a decision. You need, when you're communicating, to ensure that you are sticking to the facts and not just making up some rhetoric or some subjective comments to make a decision to move forward, because they'll pull you on it. They will challenge you on that. So you need to do your homework before you enter the room with those people to make sure that you have prepared your case in advance. That is organized, clear, and objective. In the same way as an S, you need to do what you say you're going to do in the way you say you're going to do it, because if you don't, you'll lose some trust from that person as well. And so you also need to make sure that you allow them space, and I mean physical space. So if you're a high I, and I know lots of high I's, right? And I know lots of high I's that are good huggers, right? They like to hug people. Guess what? Don't hug a C. If they're a high C, they don't like to be hugged. They don't like to be touched. They might tolerate it, but they don't like it. In fact, I know someone who's a high DIC. They hate being hugged, like with a passion, hate being hugged. So make sure that you understand that and the barriers or the distance that you might need to give someone physically to enable the rapport to build and the communication to come through. Okay, so here's the thing. Number one, figure out what your style is first. You've got on screen here the structure of DISC. Figure out where you might be. Number two, think about the top 3 people in your lives right now. It could be a partner, could be someone you work with, could be a client or a customer, could be a best friend, whoever it is. Think about those top 3 and just think, where would they sit? Now, when you do that, then think about how you're communicating with them. And do you need to change your communication style to effectively get through to them and talk to them? When you have those moments of, wow, I just can't get through to this person, it's probably because you're communicating how you want to communicate and not thinking about how they want to be communicated to. High D's, be brief, be bright, be gone. High I's, keep it personal, have some fun with it, make sure you spend time for socializing. High S's, be personal, be loyal, do what you say you're going to do, be patient, be polite. And high C's, be objective, be clear, be processed, do what you say you're going to do, and keep the distance. Okay, so there's some tips for you from the DISC profiling. I absolutely love DISC. I think it's one of my it's one of the easiest personality assessments that you can do, and it's so simple. When you get the report coming back through, 95% of the people who get that report say to me, "Oh my God, it's like looking in a mirror." Like when I read this report, so simple, so straightforward, more detailed than they expected, but absolutely like them. And they get a lot of benefit from it because they realize once they've done a report that they can communicate so much more effectively, build better relationships, improve their sales, improve their results, because they're thinking about what other people need and want in communication and relationships that they are not providing. So if you want, you've got two options here. Number one, you can contact me and there is a free DISC profile that you can do. It's very top line, but it gives you a bit of an idea of what your personality traits may be, your style may be. And number two, I can actually get you a full assessment, really cost effectively, and you can have the full graphs and all the details as well, and I can provide that. But my most favorite thing that I do with DISC is deliver DISC for teams. It is a passion of mine to sit in a room with 10, 15 people, all of which have done their assessments, and we can work through some of those relationships together, some of the ways that they communicate. Honestly, it's high energy, it's high fun, and so many positive learnings from that. So many businesses that I've worked with say that that becomes the cornerstone of building high-performing teams in their organization. So if you need and want that support, I can absolutely deliver those sessions for you as well. Please share this, right? This is one of the lives I want you to just take and share with people in business, people in high leadership roles in organizations or other organizations that you might know, because this stuff is absolutely golden. And it will definitely help them. And I want to make sure I help those people. So that's it from me. We've done for July. Can you believe it? We're going to be in August. We've got a new subject for August. We're going to be back here though next. No, we're not going to be here next Wednesday. Next Wednesday is my birthday. So I'm taking my birthday off. We're going to go and do something fun. But we'll be back on the 10th of August for another live. Have an amazing week. Go and be successful. But more importantly, go and use the information that you've learned here today. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.